Okay, welcome to the Town of Deerfield Select Board Board of Health Sewer Commissioners meeting for December 3rd, 2025. The time is 6 p.m. Location is a hybrid meeting, both on Zoom and in the main meeting room at 8 Conway Street, South Deerfield, Mass. This meeting will be held in a hybrid fashion with the opportunity for both in-person attendance and remote participation. Please note that while an option for remote attendance and/or participation is being provided as a courtesy of the public, the meeting or hearing will not be suspended or terminated if technological problems interrupt the virtual broadcast unless otherwise required by law. Members of the public with a particular interest in any specific item on this agenda should make plans for in-person versus virtual attendance accordingly. The meeting will be held in person in the main meeting room of the Deerfield Municipal Offices. In accordance with the Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, anyone intending to record the meeting must identify themselves to the clerk and provide their name and address for the record. I'll call the meeting to order. We have public comment. If anyone has any comment, they're welcome to on anything on the agenda or anything at all you'd like to talk to the board about. Happy to hear it now. Any topic? What topic are you thinking? Okay, yeah, I'll allow that at that time. Yep, you're welcome. And you okay? Sure. Yeah, we'll take comments. We'll take comments at that time. Anybody else for any other items? Okay, great. So we'll just take care of a couple other things. Any select board announcements or reports or anything to hit on? Hope everyone had a good Thanksgiving with your families. Very nice to relax. And I'm thankful to the elves in town who put up the lights on the poles and all the decorations around. So it's really nice to see the town all festive. I know that there's a group that worked together to put the deer on the common, and nice to see everything for the season all dressed up. It looks
And that
really good.
they've got the tree lid back up on the mountain again too.
Use is replaced, and we're good to
Yeah,
go for the
exactly.
season. Nice to see.
You probably are aware, but just for the audience, Yankee Candle and Newell Brands going through some downsizing again. We don't have any direct information about whether this will affect South Deerfield's stores. It seems to be centered in the stores. Apparently about 20 candle stores are going to be closed globally.
Okay.
So just wanted to share that
Thank you.
information.
Okay. Let's.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Thank Tim for his walk that he did.
Right.
to the,
We
food
did
booth.
not.
I
Yes.
think we should be thanking him for that, getting out there and doing it.
Thank
It was
you,
a-
Tim and everybody.
A lot of people in town. Deerfield is, I think we did about 10% of the total 800,000 that's been raised so far from
Great.
Ben Clark, of course, and Clark Taylor, big engine of that. So
Yeah.
he and the family deserve a lot of credit. But the schools also
Yeah.
got a great team this year.
Absolutely. It was so nice to see. Very well needed. So it was good. Thank you again. So we have any Board of Health comments? I know that, there is some COVID still cropping up and the flu is around. So, just again, protect yourself as best you can. We don't have any notes from Ned recently.
Well, the only thing I would mention is that, we have been talking about a fats, oils, and grease or FOG policy.
Yes.
And I know Alex has been working on that a little bit with Ned as well. So down the road, we'll probably have something to present to the board to look at for adoption on that front.
Good. Thank you. Let's see. So we have minutes. Let's find my. Here we go. So I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of November 19th, 2025 for a select board executive session, November 19th, 2025 joint meeting with the planning board and the select board, November 19th, 2025 regular select board meeting, November 24th, 2025 regular select board meeting, and December 2nd select board executive session meeting minutes.
Second,
Thank you. All those in favor?
Blake Gilmore, aye.
Tim Hilchey, aye.
Trevor McDaniel, aye. Great, thank you. Um, So for the discussion and decision items, we have a second review and possibly a vote of the sewer regulations and adoptions to take effect January 1st, 2026. And again, I wanted to thank the group that came together, Alex and Chris and Greg and Matthew and Eric have all kind of been working hard to go through our regular, yes, rock star over here. Yep, went through all the fine tooth stuff. On putting together our regulations for the sewers, which, encompass everything from cutting into the roadway and what do you pack it with and what size pipes you use and what are the fees and all that kind of things. And so I have been a part of that, so I'm comfortable with it. I don't know if anyone else has any questions or comments. We have a copy of them here.
Do you want to just go through the highlights or have Christopher?
Sure.
Yeah, I'm happy to
Highlights.
just speak to the highlights, and I certainly second Trevor's point about the staff we've had here and all the work they've done on this. Everyone's been great helping out and get these across the finish line. So I just wanted to point out. So first of all, we didn't include specific penalties in these regulations. Instead, we just rely on what's called our non-criminal disposition bylaw, and that allows Matthew as the sewer superintendent to levy fines, first $25 first offense, $50 second offense, and then $100 for every offense thereafter. And so for the moment, we're going to go with that schedule for fines. Did also want to just highlight, in the past, all sewer bills have been based on water meter, which works for 99% of our sewer users. We do have a handful of properties that are on sewer that for whatever reason do not have a functioning water meter. And it's something we remind our water supply district about all the time.
Yeah.
What these regulations do is provide for an average estimated bill going to those users so that they're actually paying for the sewer use that they are currently enjoying. So that's something that wouldn't go into effect until July 1st of 2026. So putting folks on notice, but if you've got a broken water meter, you might want to go ahead and fix it.
Yeah.
Then a couple other items. This does provide for intermunicipal agreements. So if another neighboring community wants to join the sewer system, this creates a framework for that process. Obviously, it would be a much bigger conversation, but these regulations do include consideration of that. And then, as you already said, just outlines standard stuff around earthwork requirements, piping. And Matthew Morse, our DPW super, as well as Eric Meals, our chief wastewater operator, is still working on schedule for connection fees that'll be updated, an industrial discharge permit, and also just kind of, I think a future conversation will be around the alternative betterments that our bylaw allows for. So in the future, we'll be, looking to update these regulations at the same time we update our rates. So every fall, we'll be having a hearing on both of those items.
Definitely gives us more flexibility and keeps it up front. So, right. Okay. So, I move the select board in its capacity as the Deerfield Sewer Commissioners adopt the sewer use regulations as presented to take effect January 1st, 2026.
Second.
Any further discussion or questions?
I just want to clarify,
please.
this essentially moves, we used to be driven by a bylaw, is that right? So anytime we wanted to change anything, we had to go to the legislature.
Mhm.
So this frees up our hands and allows us to respond much more quickly and effectively as needs arise.
Right. So when the town adopted a few years ago, Chapter 150, our new sewer bylaw, that allowed for the board to promulgate these regs. And these regs really are about, what Matthew's doing day to day to make sure that our sewer users are, in compliance and just keeping our sewer system healthy.
All those in favor?
Blake Gilmore, aye.
Tim Hilchi, aye.
Trevor McDaniel, aye. Thank you very much. Thanks again for that work. Next is again another read of the and possibly vote on the South County Senior Center intermunicipal agreement amendments. So These have been passed in the other two towns, but we wanted a little bit more time to review them. The Board of Oversight has been working for the last year or so on just kind of updating our intermunicipal agreement, which is maybe 15 years old at the moment. And what we were trying to do was to kind of group in some of the users of the senior center on the Board of Oversight. So that I guess the couple of major changes would be, most of it is all just clerical, but one of them is the Board of Oversight shall be composed of one member of the Select Board from each member town or their designee. In addition, each Select Board shall appoint one active senior center member from their town to the board in an advisory capacity. So some towns use, we have a council on aging, but some are not active, some are on that council of aging, but don't really attend the center much. So we really thought just an active senior center member could be on the board to advise each town and the Board of Oversight as to, what's going on and decisions we make before we bring it to the towns. So we thought that was a good move going forward to get more involvement on the governance of the center. And then the other structure was that we were going to change the apportionment costs, which are right now they're 50% Deerfield, 25 Sunderland, 25 Whately. We were going to change them a lot like the schools and other entities that we do based on the population in the town. So the annual budget apportionment costs, each member town shall share of the net budget for the senior center shall be proportional to each member town's senior population age 60 and older, according to the most recent federal census for each town. We kind of studied, we tried a couple different things. So how many people use it? We thought the fairest thing, because you never know when somebody's going to use it or not, would be just how we get paid from the state is based on population and age of that population. So similar to the schools, it's a percentage. We're about, I want to say, I know Jennifer just texted me this too. So Deerfield's 54%, 28% for Sunderland, and 18% for Whately. So this is kind of how we would change. This is our annual budget that would be done each year, similar to what we do now, but just kind of getting it more aligned for each town.
Trevor,
Mm-hmm.
is this going to be reviewed every year? Is it, if there's a change in population and that sort of thing, or is it done?
It's based on the census, so it's every 10 years. But we looked going back multiple censuses, and they aligned, pretty close to that number. So there wasn't a really large change. We could, if there was for some reason some way out of the ballpark change and Deerfield went down to 20%, we can always bring this agreement up and vote it and talk with the towns. But I think it looked pretty steady, and we looked at a couple other ways of splitting it up, and it all seemed to kind of fall in the same. We looked at usage, how many people kind of scan their My Senior Center card when it goes in. It all kind of worked out to about that usage. So, but yes, we can always bring it back, and we should, every year look at the agreement, and then, every 10 years we should update it for sure. We're a little behind the schedule, so. We had looked at some other things to do, but thought we would hold off on those, creating a district, doing different things. We thought of, about buying a building, or how do we, right now we're trying, we're a 3-town entity, but trying to figure out, well, who would own a building if it was in a different town? Should it be a district or some other agreement? So a lot like Buckland, Shelburne has a kind of a similar kind of setup, and we've been just thinking we would hold back and watch how that plays out for them and see what would work best for us going forward. So we decided not to take any other steps, but really just getting some other membership on our board, and just changing how it was paid for our budget. So I'll make the motion and then we can discuss it further. So I move the Select Board approve the amendments to the South County Senior Center intermunicipal agreement as presented. We have a second.
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion or questions?
Yeah, the senior center people, or the seniors that would be on they're in an advisory capacity. Are
Correct.
they also able to go back laterally and talk to the select board in their town as far as things, that changes and that sort of thing? How does that work?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, they're just a conduit for us on the BOO or the Select Board. Always welcome to have them come and report here, but it's really just to try and get us a feel for what's going on day to day there. I work a ton and we have multiple meetings all the time. It's hard to be at the center as much, but it would give them a voice at the table and in the governance, and work with the director and have a say on kind of how they think, we could improve and bring services, but certainly can always report back to this board here too.
Okay, so as far as picking them, is that something that is going to
This
be
board-
elected, or we will?
It would be the Select Board that would appoint one member. We could take a recommendation from anybody, but yeah, it's up to this board who would be our representative on that board. Yep.
Okay.
Great. Any further questions? All those in favor?
Blake Gilmore, aye.
Tim Hilchey, aye.
Trevor McDaniel, aye. Thank you all very much. Okay. So next discussion is the Treehouse Brewing Company's entertainment license revisions regarding noise restrictions. So let's see here. So yeah, I think it was just a continuing discussion. You want to, Christopher?
Yeah, just give a little preface here. Back at the end of the concert season, we decided we'll give it a little time for everyone to kind of settle down, and then we'll restart this conversation when the entertainment license renewal comes up. So last month in November, we had a meeting where we heard from some Deerfield residents about their issues with sound emanating from the concerts. Greg and myself had an opportunity to meet with Treehouse on a couple occasions and just talk about some solutions to sound mitigation, to the overall calendar of events, and a couple other items. And I think we had some really productive conversations with them. So I think tonight, we want to certainly hear Treehouse's perspective a little bit, and then also, talk about some draft conditions that have been put together. And the hope is to have, that we're in a place where we can renew an entertainment license for Treehouse Brewing at our next regular meeting with some reasonable conditions, and in a way that, gives the community what they need and gives Treehouse what they need as well.
Great. You want to invite?
Yeah, we
Treehouse?
would invite, yeah, come on up, introduce yourself and, oh, great. Yeah, come on up. Yeah. Hop on up and just introduce yourselves to the public, and remember to speak into the mic, so you really need to eat. Yeah, pull them forward, and you almost have to eat the mic so everyone can hear.
Sarah Moore, and I work for Treehouse Brewing Company. I've met everyone up here previously, and
Yes.
Chris had said we've had a couple of really good meetings recently. Previously, met with my former colleague, Allie, so she generally is a face that we see more often, but I'm pretty excited to be more involved with our summer stage program and our community relationship for Treehouse. So again, thank you for having us here. Understand that the subject on the agenda is sound mitigation and how we will continue to strive to make improvements. We just closed our third year.
Try to
Yeah,
leave
right
really
into
leave the
it.
mic. I can just tell from one of our folks online that it's you really got to eat these mics. So
Yeah,
apologize
you
about
gotta
that.
be like
Speak right up.
touching
Yeah.
your lips.
You can yell at us.
I can fix that.
Trust
for
me.
Sound
Get
guys.
the sound guy here.
So we just closed our third season. I would say it was a more robust calendar of events. Some of the feedback that we've received is taking a look at the totality of the events and like what months
You
that
got to
they,
speak up.
what months-
You're trailing
There you go.
as you
what
Got it.
months they occur in. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And so we've taken some of that feedback. We look forward to working with public safety to take those learnings from last season. They had some comments, so I believe we're going to be meeting on that. But for this evening, if I'm correct, we are here to discuss our sound mitigation efforts.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I know, I guess I would kick it to Greg to speak on anything that he has sent your way, or if you had questions, but I wanted to clarify that the packet that was sent that I think that you have with some background
Do.
from Greg. So
Yep.
also I'll let Jason introduce himself.
Yeah, please.
Hey, I'm Jason Verboin. I own Klondike Sound in Whately, and we provide the production for the Treehouse series. So I can speak with some expertise on how the sound travels through the air.
Thank you. Thanks for being here. So,
I mean, I can just comment that we did meet, and just to get us all on the same page, and to bring back, I brought back some of the results of the meeting that we had, and it really was to look at, there were a number of complaints about the subwoofers, the low frequencies, that they tend to travel the farthest, and that tends to be what people hear and experience in vibration. So we had a discussion this last week about looking at a dual sort of cardioid array facing backwards and facing frontwards. That was our discussion. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jason. And what that does is looking at the document that they sent, which was very helpful because it gave a number of scenarios in terms of how subwoofers can be put into an array, and where the null points are, which the null points are basically a sort of a way where the frequencies will often collide and they'll cancel each other out, and therefore it reduces the overall decibel level of those frequencies. So with that report or document that they sent us, it kind of clarified that what they were presenting or proposing to do with this double array is actually the most effective for behind the stage, which is where we got a lot of complaints. And then also in front of the stage, going in, a particular direction, which was sort of, almost centered. But one of the things is we'll do a little bit of trial and error at the beginning of the season to, sort of fine tune that, because it's not an exact science with this.
Yep.
And try to work out what seems like a good sort of mitigating angle, and the backwards, I think, is a little clearer in terms of because you do have obstructions behind the stage. You've got pelican, you've got trees, and so it really is going to be looking at just sort of a broader, just trying to cancel those frequencies out, going backwards, because they'll tend to go in the path of least resistance, meaning around buildings. And so that's the sort of approach behind the stage. And then in the front of the stage, it'll be more sort of directed in a particular direction. So,
yeah, and I think a lot of what we hear for the complaints that we get, or notices that we get about the the vibrations, or it's overpowering, is really behind Hillside, Jackson Road, kind of those houses kind of right behind, and then obviously going forward as well. I mean, you don't really hear much north or south. People can hear it, and again, it's not going to quiet the sound completely. Still going to hear the music. I mean, there's not a way to shut off the concerts and still have concerts. So the idea is to keep refining and keep making improvements to people's lives so that it's not disruptive. I mean, it's really tough, and there's a couple things around that. And I'm grateful to learn about how we can arrange speakers in the subwoofers, because I think that's what drives people crazy the most, when the windows are rattling and the pictures on the walls are moving, and they're really upset about how the vibration they're feeling of that. more than the sound, I think it's really feeling that, constant vibration. So that's helpful that there is some technology. There's ways that we can try to mitigate that. So I'm grateful that you're working to do that. A couple other things are, around when we do these concerts. And I think the one thing that is evident is that we do not want a concert on the 2 nights that kids are starting school for the season. And that's generally around the 26th, 27th of August. Those 2 nights, parents, it's not so much the kids can't go to sleep, it's parents are stressed. It's summer's over, back to the grind. It's really a difficult time. It's a stressful time for everybody, but really getting kids to bed early, getting them started in a school. Talk with the superintendent. This year is kind of odd because Labor Day starts the 7th, so it's much later in the season than normal. Usually it's around the end of August, or that early first week in September, but it's the 7th this year. So I believe they're each year we negotiate with the teachers union about when we start the calendar of school, number of days, all that kind of thing. So right now, I believe the teachers will be back the 26th. Kids will be in school the 27th, which is a Thursday, 28th, which is a Friday. So it's really like the 26th night, the 27th night, no concerts would need to be that would be the ideal. And then, Friday night, not a problem. The kids are off the next day. People are off on the weekend. So, and then the following week, I think you were planning to end the season somewhere around the 31st, but, acts kind of come and go towards the end of that season. And I know that you'll look at picking up, acts here and there at the end. But we would like to keep, like, after school starts, no more than 2 that week. And I think you were planning to kind of finish off. So really it's kind of just as everybody's trying to get back to a groove, that week especially is stressful. So I was hoping that was the case last year. And sure enough, first night of school, concerts happening, parents are upset. So
Absolutely heard on that.
Yep.
Do we have confirmation that it is the 26th and the 27th? So right
Yes.
now where we are is we're in a little bit of a holding pattern in terms of
Correct.
who we can book.
Right.
And so we feel after 3 seasons, we've continued to improve. Hear what you're saying about the noise, but our execution, our working with the community, public
Yep.
safety. And so we would like the ability to continue to strive to bring highly desirable acts to
Sure.
Deerfield and to Franklin County and to the region.
Yep.
And so when we have everything locked down here, we're going to be able to do that.
Right.
So good timing, knowing that we'll call those blackout dates.
Would love that.
And
Parents would
that's,
love that.
and yeah, I mean, we're here to be good community partners.
Absolutely.
I will say, though, I don't think the community wants us to miss out on an opportunity.
Correct.
So I would be hesitant to, throw a whole bunch of dates and restrictions
Correct.
beyond that. But what you're saying is absolutely reasonable. And this is, if those are the
Yeah.
dates, we can go to our talent booking partners
Great.
and say, it's
These-
just not on the table.
Right. That'd be great. That would be great. And we can
Good.
confirm that with you.
Yeah.
We'll get back to you, but I'm almost 100% those are the 2 nights.
That's great. And I know between the Labor Day and I have 4 children myself,
It's stressful.
when you say this, like, I
Yeah.
feel that. You're right. I think it's the more transition is bigger for the parents and
It
for the
is.
kids. So I
Yeah.
totally hear that. I think that last year was a little strange because no one knew till late. Usually it started Thursday before, all my years as a parent, Thursday before Labor Day.
Yes.
Then they moved it to Tuesday and now, so
It was
Hey.
a weird,
Right.
weird year too.
if we can lock down those dates now,
Definitely can.
going into our booking, because as I said, we're in that holding pattern. right
Sure.
now. Thank
Yeah,
you.
we can definitely help with that
Mhm.
for sure. That'd be great. I'm grateful for your help on that.
Did Darius provide when school closes for the summer? Because
Um,
we want to try and
Great question. I can find that out for sure as well.
So our program, as we have it planned this season, we lease our stage
Sure.
and all of our scaffolding and
Yep.
all the
Right.
lights and all that for that production. And that's, we are best in class in that. You've all been to the shows.
Beautiful shows, yep.
It is an elevated experience. And so right now, it's also a very, it's a big expense. So
Yeah.
right now,
What do
we
you
have
think
our
of it?
lease for June, July, and August. That is
Yep.
our plan for our summer
Yeah.
concert series. If an incredible opportunity came
Yeah.
and we spilled into September, but
Right.
not going to be the same schedule of events those first couple weeks in September.
Right.
Frankly, we're working on the
The
finances of the program, and so
Yeah.
we've planned for 3 months of stage.
Yeah, and generally, I can get the dates in June, and of course, those are wrapping up school, not as stressful as like starting, so, but I can definitely get
Yeah, no,
dates for
I,
that for
I know
sure.
it's like
Yep.
the first or second week of June.
Yeah,
And, you're right. The end of the school is different than the beginning of school.
yep,
But did we also talk about if something bleeds into September, that we're going to change the time that the concert has to stop? Is that something we talked about?
That may have been on the
W-
list at
We
that
did,
meeting.
we did talk about, since, the stage rental ends on the 31st, but you anticipate there's a possibility of having acts come in after that. Maybe setting some additional restrictions, just as an acknowledgement again that, school's back in session, it's the beginning of the year. But I don't think we came to any exact time on that,
I
yeah.
mean, as it is,
Is there any way that you can have the majority of your concerts during the July and August time period and maybe limit yourself in June to maybe one concert a week or? at max?
unfortunately, that wouldn't be possible for this program.
right,
So, in other words, you're still saying that there's chances you could do 3 or 4 concerts in a week during that time period?
That is possible, yes. So as I understand it, and I am not the talent booker, but we send out offers to a lot of acts that we would like to see. And then we need to know from their talent folks if they are available.
right,
And then we piece together our program or curate our program with a variety of different acts, different genres, different generations of fans.
Sure.
I think our schedule reflects that. So when we send a number of these offers out, we have to be prepared to invite them to come and meet our end of the bargain.
right,
And we send out a fair amount of them, hoping that people will accept, but not all of them do.
right.
So as I sit here right now, the program does not work if we are limited to 2 months.
Right. Yep, that makes sense.
And I would just add for context, in June, so it looks like this year, June 10th is supposed to be the last day of school. I know we've then got that 5-day snow
Yeah.
day allowance, so that would bring you to around June 17th. So just for context there, that's
Yeah.
the current calendar.
Thank you. Yeah, which is not too big a deal, the last part of the school, but, versus the beginning. Any, thoughts on number of concerts this year or versus last year? I mean, again, it depends on how many people accept and you get
Yes,
booked and all that.
very much.
thing.
And I probably did not put that as eloquently as I could have,
Oh,
but
okay.
yes, as we send out our offers to invite folks to play here and we put together our program, we really hone our slate, and there's considerable financial inputs and
Right.
considerations
Sure.
from there, how we piece together the shows based on the popularity locally and who we can pull from. So there's a lot of inputs that would not put me in the position right now to say we're
Give you a
doing
number.
X number.
Fine. Just curious how it
of shows.
comes together.
Hopefully, and we are finding this, is that we have acts that have had an outstanding experience with the guests that we bring in and with the fans from this community,
Yeah.
that we're getting some folks saying, hey, we played there before, we'd love to come back, which is
Yeah,
really
that's
nice. And
nice.
it's actually a reflection of the fans and the guests that attended, because
Yeah.
I know some venues aren't as artist friendly, and because the fans aren't having as good time. So I think that speaks very highly of
Yeah.
Mr. Mass.
For sure, for sure. Good.
So I just did some rough math. It looks like there's 13 weeks from June to August. So if you had 2 acts a week, that would be 26 concerts. Is that roughly what you think you might? I mean, last year was a big increase from the year before, I believe.
Mhm.
So it was the first time the community was, having every week a couple of concerts. So, just trying to, we're obviously it's a business that you don't know until you know. So,
I would anticipate that we have fewer shows than last year. And we are, as you know, and I spoke with Chris and Greg, looking at the entire program and how it works, its financial viability.
Number of attendees as well.
Well,
That.
our attendees, thankfully, people are really excited to come to
They are.
Deerfield and,
Getting-
and come to shows. So
Absolutely.
we've been really lucky that we've been attracting, but we put together a slate of acts that attracts a diverse group of people to come. We added some country shows
Very
last
nice.
season, which was really
popular.
fun. Really, really popular. But they've been well attended.
Yeah.
I would anticipate to have fewer shows than last year, based on just kind of the financial analysis
Right.
that we've done.
And that's what I'm thinking, like the number of attendees, fewer shows, maybe some more attendees. It's all an equilibrium of kind of
Correct.
what makes it affordable.
Yes.
So I understand you're looking at number of people of shows this year to increase a bit
Yeah.
versus and what the logistics are. I know we're working on that on some, not the topic of tonight,
Right.
but just we're working on that as well with you. And, it's not, I think the impression is people think, oh, you're making a ton of money on these shows. It's not reality. I know it's hard for people to understand the cost that is outlaid in the stage and the acts and the the personnel that need to go into it and all. So it's not a huge money maker, but again, depending
is-
on number of people.
Candidly, this is not a profit center for
Mhm.
Treehouse. This program is not
Right.
A big
Yeah.
driver. It is something that we committed when we came to this town and
Yeah.
right from the outset said this is something that we want to do. We want to have our music and events in a robust, exciting community gathering place, and then also be a driver for tourism and an
Yes.
economic engine. And I'm really proud of the work that we collectively in this community has showed up for. And just as we are looking at how we can continue to improve with sound mitigation to be good community partners and neighbors, we would like to do that across the
Yeah.
board. But you are correct. Now that we have 3 years under our belt, we are taking a fresh analysis of the program, and
Yeah.
it is very close to my heart to see this succeed.
Yeah.
And that's
Everybody
how
loves it.
I've been,
Yeah.
and thank you. That's how the reception that we've gotten across the board.
Yeah.
So I'd like to just focus more on volume and noise and
Mhm.
and some of the sound engineering things that I know Greg has expertise in this area, but we don't. So Jason, can you talk about one of the things that is in the packet is flying the woofers or the subwoofers? What does that mean and how does that help?
Yes, so there are several types of speakers that are used, and the subwoofers are for the low end, and that's the problem. They exist in their own enclosure. Sometimes they're flown in the air from the roof of the stage. More often they're on the ground. What we did last year actually is both. There were a couple per side in the air, and then a lot of them were clustered in the center. Up till this point, we have arrayed the system to be what is best for the audience, and that has been our only real marching orders. So there are lots of other ways to go, and that's what we're looking at now. Everything
Yeah.
has a cost from a quality perspective, and it's all about timing and alignment and phase and all these things. But
Yeah.
most people in the audience can't tell. So the window we have to work in is what can we do that helps for sound mitigation,
Yeah.
but doesn't make it so that touring engineers, most of the bands, every band that was a problem, and I also think it's worth noting that you're talking about number of shows.
Yeah.
Well, if we were to do a whole bunch of shows with, Judy Collins, nobody would ever know.
Right.
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 Not every show
Is the same.
It has a lot of low end and is carrying. They did Amy Mann. I'm sure you didn't get any complaints for Amy Mann
Yeah.
for a lot of the shows. So that's
Right.
an important distinction here is, more than trying to limit the number of shows is
The type-
limiting
type of-
the type of shows.
Right.
Country shows I feel like are probably on the quieter side and not as
Yeah.
impactful. I don't know. Anyway, to the tech side of it, now that we know what we're trying to do, we have ways that we can do that by arraying and delaying. Straight out from the stage, that's the hardest place to make it stop once it's going.
Sure.
Unfortunately, I believe one of the houses that was complaining is fairly close,
Mm-hmm.
but we have an idea. It's just far enough off axis that you try and create a null point, and that's the thing we're gonna work on.
Experiment a bit.
Yeah. So I don't think what we want to do is fly more subs than we did last year. First of all, it's harder to once we do that, it's sort of a commitment of resources that's harder to change. But
Yeah.
what we can do is how we space them and array them on the ground is something that we can change over time. I do also want to note though that temperature, humidity, weather, wind all change these things, and that's something
They
that
do.
this isn't any experimentation and change wouldn't be real time.
Right.
It would be over a course of a number of shows.
Yeah.
And those sound engineers they're using your stuff, correct?
So most of them bring their own mixing console. They all use our speaker system.
Okay, is one of your people with them when that's
Yes.
happening?
Yes.
Okay, and is there any chance of limiting a
So-
little bit of what they're doing with, because again, we're finding out that the opening acts aren't a problem
Yeah,
because
that's
they're
mostly my
within their
engineers.
limits
Yes.
and they do very well, but you get into the main act and it's not all the main acts. Excuse me, but certain ones that they just set off the vibration and we've got people that can feel it a couple miles away.
Right. So what I don't want to do is provide a smaller sound system that they wouldn't be able to make it as loud as they want it, because that will damage what I send them, and this is hundreds of thousands of dollars
Yeah.
of equipment that also has to stay there for the summer.
Right.
So we can add a restriction. The WHO restriction is one that was talked about.
Yep.
What I've said is my engineers would alert Treehouse staff if someone was going over the limit, but I don't want my staff are supposed to be the good cop.
Right.
But they would alert them. They would monitor and alert.
Right.
I think that would be a good thing to do. The problem is from a contract side, it has to get into the contracts. Otherwise, there's no enforcement mechanism
Correct.
with the artists. You can't. It's their it's their console. We can't touch it.
Right.
We can start to turn things down. It's just bad for
Right.
everything if we don't get
Relation.
ahead of it.
And that's something on our end as we're working on the contracts now. I think the WHO we've decided is a
Right.
reasonable thing, and then we can work that into
That's great.
the contracts. But additionally, we do have these acts that are bringing their own professional touring engineers.
Sure.
And there's, we have to respect their process and their professionalism. So I think that is a very cut and dry.
Clear up
This is the
front. They know already.
WHO. We didn't make it up.
Right.
This is the guidance. And I
Yep.
think that's a standard that all acts and all sound engineers can understand. So
Yep.
that's something that we're going to try to integrate into our future contracts.
How does, I'm going to ask you, Greg, maybe you know this, maybe you don't. If you don't know, maybe we could get an answer. How does that WHO standard compare to like general Massachusetts noise ordinance law?
It's pretty much right in line with it. I mean, it looks to sort of limit the broadband level at around 90 decibels, which is about what the state, or basically what the state requires. That's usually at the property boundary line.
Yep.
I mean, there, depends on what you read in the statute. But, I've always said, if you're going down the road of decibel level, I think you're
miss
gonna,
that
yeah,
completely.
you're gonna wind up, there's so many variables in that, where you measure it from. You can move 10, 15 feet along the property line and
These
get a
null.
very different reading. I think, speaking with Klondike, I got some good information there that, they do put limiters on their equipment, which it makes, I would expect them
They're
to, because
expensive equipment.
they're trying to protect their equipment. And those limiters are set at peak, I believe at peak at 105, which peak at 105 does not mean that you're sending a broadband signal of 105. It means that you're keeping it probably below that 90 decibel level anyway. So my hunch is that they're, within the compliance of the state laws. I mean, it's fine to measure it. And I think that's what he's saying is, like, if you've got someone sort of metering it and you want to put it into a contract in some way, I think that's fine. I just think that, what I found for going from a opening act to the main act is often you're trying, the engineers are also trying to build energy.
For sure.
They don't want their main act to be quieter than their opening act. It's just kind of what they do.
Right.
And then there's also things like ear fatigue. So if someone is mixing the entire show, over an hour, your ear begins to get fatigued. Sometimes the tendency is to bring it up a little bit in volume. But with that said, I think from my perspective, going to those concerts, and especially the loud ones, to me they were mixed extremely well. That's not saying that the sound is not traveling, and that's why I think the best course of action for mitigating it is to look at the subwoofer array. The way they clustered them this season. I think we had a discussion to be able to do, it may be a little more expensive, but I think Treehouse is looking into what that cost will be. But to be able to create those null points behind the stage, and nothing is going to be perfect.
Correct.
I mean, and to Jason's point, humidity, wind is going to carry the sound. Sound travels through air.
Yep.
And it's going to get pushed around depending on the night.
Yep.
And so, I think
But
the
we're taking
goal
steps
is
to
to
improve.
try keep getting better at this. So,
Sure. I mean, we want this year to be really better. I went to several concerts, both as a paying customer and to study sound. And Dark Star Orchestra was loud one night and really bothered people. On the second night, apparently the weather conditions were different, and the same people who invited me to their house were experiencing a rather quiet evening. So I understand the variability. The bass, as I recall, was clustered in the middle, sitting on the ground. Is that
That's
correct?
Yes.
Is it possible to elevate them on feet, just so that they're not flying,
That
but
doesn't do
doesn't
what you want
change
it to do.
anything? Still transfers through the pole and goes into the ground and vibrates.
So you have to remember that there's somebody at mixed position 80 feet away that is doing whatever they can to create the sound that they want it to be
Sure.
where they are.
Right.
And that's the thing that we can't really stop. So we have to, so if you put them up and say they're quiet or they're not doing this, they're going to change the system, the way it responds, to still have the same impact for them, which is then going to translate for others. Yeah. So technically, if the subs are on the ground, it's sort of a reflection, and so they're technically twice as loud. But if you put them in the air, they're just going to turn them up to have the same impact.
Okay, so this is what I wanted to get at. So they bring their own sound engineer. My understanding is they want to mix the sound so that the band sounds the best it can sound. Are you also saying that they control volume beyond your board?
Well,
They feed into your board that feeds.
no, we don't
speakers?
no, if they bring their own console, we don't have a console. It just goes straight into the amplifiers.
Okay, so on a night when a band brings their own console, you have no control.
No, I mean, we have a laptop that controls the system, and we can turn things up or down, but we can't just go. I mean, So there's a contract between the artists
Right.
and Treehouse, which we're obligated to, you know, adhere to.
Mhm.
So we can't just until there is a limit in the contract, or they're going to damage my gear. That's when
Right.
all rules go out the window. But if it's not neither of those two things, they can do whatever they want, and we don't go behind them and say,
Okay.
you know, I'm turning this up or turning this down.
And I wouldn't, I don't want us to say, oh, they're out there doing whatever they
Right.
want. But the reality is, we're hiring professional, international touring artists. They will only play here if they can have their sound with their engineers. Like,
Right.
it's not well, when you come here, it has to be like this. They would move on to another venue. However, what the restriction that we were discussing is something
And I
that.
don't think that we wanted to give you a set, you know, whatever the decibel level is that's on that sounding board, but that if they can back off or they can go a little bit more with it, if they're doing. Now, the other thing is they start sound checks, and when do they usually start those?
I'm
In the
not sure.
afternoon?
Yeah,
I
in the
mean,
afternoon.
yeah, so I mean, this is, and what are they doing with the sound check? Because I get complaints from people that it's noisy even during the day. So I was just wondering what was happening with that.
I would typically.
I mean,
have a check.
yeah, they make sure everything works, and they
Okay.
often rehearse songs, and they run
Mm-hmm.
through things. Again, that is something that is contractually obligated and challenging to limit.
Yeah, and we want them to do it.
Oh, yeah, you want them to sound good
Sure.
when they start.
Get on.
So I guess what I'm hearing is that there is ways that based on this, you're thinking of creating ways to try to limit the sound travel in certain areas that have been an issue. And that's what you're going to work on.
Yes.
You're not going in and saying, you must be at level 7 and you must mix like this because you wouldn't get bans, right?
Well,
And there's a
Also,
lot
you
of
wouldn't
other things.
know
You
on
wouldn't
any
know.
given night unless we got, you know, got a bat phone to everybody in the neighborhood. Like,
Right.
because some nights it's not going to get over there. Sometimes the wind's going this way.
It's
So it
very
would be
difficult.
very, very challenging
Yeah.
to know in real time how
Right.
things are going. There are very large festivals who do that sort of, it's
I mean,
Very
prohibitive.
expensive. Yeah, very expensive.
if this is going to continue, you know, as you're going through there, is there some other way that you could maybe set something up that would, I don't know if it'd be diffuse or to disperse the sound into different directions? And I'm thinking like maybe arborvitaes or something like that would
Not
just
low
actually
ends.
do it. No?
Low end, if like the size of those waves
They'll go
at
through
like
anything.
a kick drum and a bass guitar, so it just goes right through it. High frequency is really easy. High frequency, we just point it down and that's where it goes.
Yeah.
It's the low end.
And I think that's what people hear. And I think that if we take this path this year to try and zero that out in certain spots, I think that's
Mhm.
going to make an improvement. It's a lot trickier than people think. It's not just like turning it down.
Right.
Um,
It's a science.
It is.
and it's contracts as well.
Yeah,
So,
It is, and overall, we know, and we've already discussed, this is going to require additional investment on
Correct.
Treehouse's part, and
Yeah.
we are committed to being good neighbors, and this is not, something that we're ignoring, and we've had good conversations, and we are taking this seriously and are going to make our absolute best efforts to mitigate
Yeah, we appreciate that.
these noise challenges for our neighbors.
great.
So a couple of other things. Jason, you don't have anything to do with the stage itself. You're the sound engineer. You
We provide
provide-
the audio and the lighting.
Right.
We don't provide the stage.
And so you also have to contract with a stage company that sets up the stage.
Correct.
And you probably work with a lot of these businesses. Jason, you probably set up equipment on.
Yes.
One of the things that we talked about, I think last year with Allison, was trying to get some sound dampening in the back, cloth or whatever. But as she explained it to us last year, what they were able to do, if you get too dense, you have problems with wind, et cetera. So, I mean, I don't know what the technology is. Do you have?
That, like, putting up additional,
So it's to be so the backdrop that's there that we used is perforated so
Right.
that it can withstand more wind.
Right.
as a temporary structure with temporary ballast and needing stamped engineering drawings, the limitations of what you can hang from it are
Correct.
much lower than what you can do from a permanent structure.
Right.
And I think they could look at putting something solid, like solid vinyl, which again wouldn't help with the low end.
No.
I mean, but it would help with some of the sound going backwards. They could look at that, but there would be a lot of stipulations. It's like at 20-mile-an-hour gusts
It
of
has to
wind,
come
it
down,
has to come
right.
down at this. So
Not like a building that you're
it's
building.
not
It
it's not a
needs
it's
to
not a
go
I
building.
don't believe that
So again, because I'm
Something
ignorant
we
with
could
this, could they do a backdrop that would, like, say, the lower half be that vinyl and the top half be the mesh liner or whatever you had in there? Because you're talking about the vibration is coming low, and you really don't need to block the high end of that thing, so you could have wind going through there. I'm just,
Yeah, none of it's
again, I'm
gonna
guessing,
that
I
wouldn't
don't-
Oh, it's
that
okay.
wouldn't affect the
Yeah.
subwoofers.
it wouldn't.
But it gave me an idea. I'm not going to bore you with the physics right now,
Nope,
but
that's okay.
I've got an idea, because they use these giant ballast things of water ballast. And when I toured in Europe, there was one venue in a very affluent neighborhood in Germany on a lake, and they get government funding. But so they had lined like the entire venue with those giant things of water, like 3 high, to try and keep the sound from going out over the lake.
Oh,
Is
no.
this where I say Trios does not have
No.
government funding?
They use those under the stage for ballast, and I'm
Yeah.
wondering if I can ask the staging company if they can more strategically place them
Mm,
in order to be behind
with
the
your
subwoofer
speaker
arrays.
stuff. Yeah.
Again, it's all engineering. They have to
It
be in
is.
a certain thing, but I mean,
Whatever you can do to
but
kind of
mass
knowing what the
is
issues
what
are.
stops low end.
right.
Lots and lots of mass. Use 2 layers. That's right. Drywall, 2 layers of drywall
Yeah.
in a room will help.
Yep.
Deaden a room. So I'll explore that.
We appreciate anything that you're
Absolutely.
thinking of setting up the speakers and that kind of thing
Yeah.
to recognize that it's kind of like there's certain spots that are really the issue.
Yeah,
You
it
know,
was
they are,
really
yeah.
good of Jason to be here today. and
Very grateful.
Also, we have kind of the team that is contributors and collaborators to the summer stage program
Yeah.
as it is, and they work closely
Yeah.
Together. I mean, we've met with
Absolutely.
talent and sound and stage. So they have a pretty good working relationship, and this is an exchange of ideas. But
Good.
ultimately, what we're trying to demonstrate is we're not like,
trying.
it's going to be like last year. Like,
Right.
we hear you, and we are going to come up with
Yeah.
creative
We
solutions.
thank you for that.
I mean, my
Okay.
shop is 5 minutes from here. and
Yep.
So I'm
You're a local.
part of this community. as well,
Exactly.
and,
Yeah.
So before we let you go, I think some audience members may have
Yeah,
some questions
I
for you
think you had
guys.
questions or want to read comments, right? You had on this topic, do you want to say anything or did you want to?
Would you like
You're welcome to read it. You want, yeah, yeah,
Sure.
let them come up and, yeah, before we move on for the evening. Yeah, good. Sure, state your name and speak into the mic. You're good to go.
Okay. Is this good?
That's wonderful. Thank
Okay,
you.
excellent. So good evening, members of the Select Board, town officials, and guests. My name is Vincent Russo, and I reside at 5 Hillside, and I'm here this evening after having discussions with our neighborhood group, which consists of 21 concerned Deerfield residents, to discuss an issue that we feel is of critical importance to our community's quality of life: the excessive noise impacts that we experienced last year due to outdoor amplified events. Many of the people wanted to be here tonight, but have conflicts with this general time, everything
Understood.
from illness to school-age children, so you're kind of stuck with me.
It's fine. Welcome to have you. Yeah.
Our collective concerns centers on the disproportionate and significant negative impacts we've been subjected to with the current arrangement for outdoor events and concerts. We fully support Treehouse Brewing Company's success as a valuable contributor to our town's economy and community. However, the success cannot come at the expense of the residents' fundamental right to enjoy peace and well-being in their own homes. For too long, the current noise levels have severely impacted the quality of life, health, and ability to use our properties of specific residences. We believe that a thriving business and a peaceful residential neighborhood can coexist, provided there are clear, enforceable, and effective boundaries in place. Currently, we face a lack of an effective system for monitoring, enforcement, and resolution, which leaves us feeling unheard and unprotected. And on a personal note, I think that's the biggest stumbling block, is the residents feeling like they're not being included or heard. Our objective is to move beyond voluntary adjustments and establish official restrictions and performance parameters that include robust third-party monitoring and a clear path to real-time resolution and accountability. I'm here not just to complain, but to present actionable solutions discussed in our neighborhood group that the Select Board and town can endorse to protect our homes. To this end, we respectfully submit 8 specific actionable suggestions for your consideration, which we believe will allow Treehouse to be successful, responsible, and an empathetic neighbor. In the interest of time, I don't think you want me to read all.
You can leave them for the record too. Yeah.
Okay,
that's
awesome.
fine.
I do have extra
Sweet.
copies.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, did you say leave them or read them?
Whatever you'd like to do. Yeah,
Oh.
you're welcome to do. We
Okay.
need you to leave them for sure.
I'll
so.
definitely leave. Okay, so number 1, independent sound management. Mandate the engagement. These aren't hard and fast. These are our ideas.
Fine.
Mandate the engagement of independent professional acoustic engineers to monitor concert volume and frequency output for the full duration of outside events. The firm must be empowered to make immediate real-time adjustments to maintain acceptable community standards and mitigate low-frequency noise and vibrations when in receipt of verified complaints. On-site impact verification. Establish a formal list of impacted neighbors who volunteer to provide access to sound engineers for firsthand on-property sound level observations and recordings during these events. 3, acoustic infrastructure investment. Require the construction of something like a full sound absorbing performance stage or bandstand, designed not only to mitigate neighborhood sound bleed out, but also to enhance the auditory experience for the concert attendees. 4, property line acoustic mitigation. Implement additional acoustic sound absorbing barriers or paneling along the perimeter of the property, most proximate to residential areas to further contain sound propagation. 5, event moratorium for resolution. Institute a moratorium on any increase in the number or scale of concerts or outside events until existing noise impacts are resolved to the verifiable satisfaction of the neighboring residents and the town. 6, firm curfew enforcement. Institute a strictly enforced firm 10 p.m. cutoff time for amplified music and outdoor activities, especially on school nights. 7, real-time complaint and resolution system. We would like to have created a dedicated real-time system, either in addition to or in place of calling the non-emergency police line for registering noise complaints during the event. This system should include a mechanism for in-event resolution when a reasonable number of complaints or a complaint threshold has been reached. 8, accountability and conflict resolution. Establish a formal system for conflict resolution and accountability that clearly defines consequences for verified violations and/or repeated offenses. We are committed to engaging in continued collaborative discussions with the Select Board and Treehouse Brewing Company to achieve a solution that preserves our neighbors' homes' enjoyment and health while ensuring the company's continued success. We sincerely hope that the Select Board will prioritize the well-being of its residents in this matter. Thank you for your time and serious consideration of this important community issue. And
Thank you.
on a personal note, my husband and I love going to Treehouse. We're patrons of it. And the one negative thing I would have to say is apparently their pizza is better than mine.
I'd have to agree, although I haven't tried yours. All I know is fantastic pizza. Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Yeah, and leave a copy to Greg. if
Yeah,
you
and we can provide a copy for Treehouse as well,
Yep.
just to make sure.
Any other comments? Please come on up. Welcome.
So thank you for having me. I'm Rod Patton from 5 Gromacki Ave. So I'm at the other end of Vincent's problem, and we're having the same issue with noise down our way. I don't know if it's bouncing off Mount Sugarloaf, or my bedroom is actually on the west side of my house, and it keeps me awake. It is very loud. I appreciate having a great business like Treehouse in town and doing so well and attracting so many people to our community. My past experience is working in law enforcement, as Blake knows. As a police officer on duty, if we get a call for a loud noise disturbance, we go. If it's a loud party, if it's a private residence, you tell the people to quiet down. If you have to go back a second time, you shut them down. And that's what we used to do, is disperse the parties. So in reality, what you're doing is giving them a license to break the law if the sound is too loud and it affects everybody and complaints are coming in. We really don't have a recourse on what to do other than a hearing like this.
Mhm.
So I'm glad to see that everybody's trying to work on it, and I do want to see success there and have them in town, but also have them respect the rest of the town that's not involved with their concerts.
Mhm.
So that's all I wanted to say. I'm at,
Thank you.
like I say, the other end of town, and we're still having the same problem they are on Hillside. So,
Thank you. Thank you
you.
for your comment.
Thank you.
Any others before we wrap up? Yeah, come on. Come on up. Welcome.
Good evening.
Good evening. Good to see you.
I don't know if I'm happy to be back, but here I am.
We're happy you're here.
Happy you?
We're very happy you're here.
Matt Tuttle, 1 Whately Road. I think we heard some good things from Treehouse and that they're attempting to be responsive to our concerns, but I'd like to point out that we heard the same thing from them at the last meeting, that they were committed to addressing the noise complaints, that they weren't going to increase the frequency of shows. In fact, I think Sarah said the same thing last spring, and the frequency increased by, what, 8 or 9 concerts in the 2025 season. So I think it would be great if there was some restrictions or some oversight by the select board on this process. I understand that they want to make money, but that's not my problem. It's not my problem to have in my house, and I don't think that the town should just allow them to do whatever they want. So,
Thank you for
my
your comment.
thank you.
Yep.
Thank
thanks for
you.
that. Have a good night. Any other comments?
Do I have to raise my hand? I wasn't sure how this works on the Zoom.
Yeah. Yes, you do online so we could see you, but yeah, go ahead.
Um,
There you
so
go.
Monique Canyon. So I just want to clarify, because I really wasn't completely sure. So the number of concerts there is no current limit, and it doesn't look like they have any sense of how many they're going to actually have. Is that correct?
They believe they'll have less than last year, but no, there isn't.
And they also, if I understood the information from the engineer there about the volume, that there is no limit to the volume. Like when their sound engineers come, they can put it up as high as they want. Am I right in understanding that? No?
Well, they
Because
can please,
Yes,
please.
This is important. People need to understand this.
The system's limited by how loud it will get, which I still I think is within the WHO limits. We did some math on that. I'm not exactly sure, but it can't be, it's not as loud as Metallica. It just won't get that loud.
Okay, I was confused because it sounded like you were saying that the engineers that they bring, that they would want to keep it louder if we raise the speakers or the amps, whatever they are. I'm sorry, I don't know, but I just wanted to understand better because it sounded to me like they were just going to increase the sound to make it still feel the same way as if they were on the ground. Did I not understand that correctly?
So the the artist engineer are looking for a certain effect,
Yes.
looking to have it sound a certain way, but there's a limiter. There are limiters on our equipment to protect it from breaking. That is actually reasonable. I mean, one thing is the audio system that we bring in there is frequently less than what the artist engineers are asking for and look for, and we tell them that this is what it is and this covers the space very well. We actually it's quite small, to be honest, and is limited by its size, and it's also limited electronically.
And that is a point, sorry, we probably should have mentioned when we were talking about the control that we have over these professional touring artists is that they do come in and they say, you know, we want this grand thing because we are attracting acts that have sell out 10,000 person shows.
Right.
But we have designed this system to accommodate the space that is here in South
Right.
Deerfield. So it is
It's
smaller
not
than
like a,
many of them are used to, and they don't have the ability to just jack it up and destroy Klondike's.
So just to use round numbers, I'm not saying these are the numbers that you would use. We'll use 100 for an easy number. Okay. You have a limiter. It's limited to 100 decibels. Otherwise, it's going to blow out the subwoofer. And so, I mean, you're protecting your equipment. So no matter what they do, it's going to be limited by what can go through the board and come out the speaker.
Correct.
Okay.
I should
Okay,
also
thank
say
you.
that the system is modest enough that you probably don't even know this, but there was an offer out, and they came back to us for next year, and they came back to us and said, you know, that PA is not big enough, and they didn't take the offer. So there are business repercussions
Yeah.
to this all.
Right.
and we need to find that happy medium.
Yeah.
It is a business, you know, so that act just doesn't function in this neighborhood.
Yeah,
Hey.
and we understood that they decided not to play our venue. It's
Yep.
not like we were going to beef it up for this
Right,
one artist. But
right.
I guess just to reinforce, this system is designed for this space, and we are going to continue to improve it again
Right.
this year
Try to find ways to-
and make some investments for those improvements. And those investments are not bigger and,
Right.
and louder.
Correct.
Hey, Trevor, I can
Please.
explain so when there's a limiter on a system, what it does is it compresses the audio signal. So compression it can often make it seem like it actually does kind of narrow the bandwidth of the overall amplitude. So what happens is it can actually bring up the floor of the lower decibel levels. So it can, trying to explain this in the simplest terms I can. What it does is it will cut off the peaks that are over, let's say, usually they have a cutoff. They don't want to square off the wave because that will wreck their equipment,
Right.
right? Because a subwoofer, any woofer cannot recreate a square wave.
Right.
And so what that
Right.
does is that will create distortion, and that tends to diminish the equipment
Yep.
over time, and it can blow your highs, your lows, your mids. And so what it does is it compresses that signal down below that threshold. So it's not going to get above 105. Does that mean that it can't, on average, creep up to 90 decibels? It can.
Mhm.
On the average. But when you have professional mixing engineers, they want it to have a certain amount of dynamic range in there. That's why I said, it's probably very rare, if ever, when you have set a threshold of limiting to compress it down underneath 105 decibels, that your average is going to be consistently over 90 decibels, because what's going to happen is you're pushing up the low decibel range so great that you wind up with very limited amount of dynamic range, right?
Right.
So your soft periods sound loud, everything sounds loud, and that's not how good engineers mix. They would like to have a certain amount of decibel range so
Yeah.
that the music can breathe.
Right.
So, and the other thing I, just want to point out, because my part of why I'm here, I just think is to help educate, because I've used to teach this stuff. And the other thing is, when we talk about noise, noise is not really what people are experiencing. Noise is a very specific thing. It's white, pink noise, and it's all basically frequencies sounding at the same decibel level. It's usually what you get with industry and, machinery, and that's where you get noise. What we're talking about is sound mitigation, and specifically low frequencies.
Right.
So,
And helping to kind of find those null areas.
yeah, and that
Deep
and that I
helping
think is
help.
probably the most effective way, is to work with these arrays, especially in the subwoofer arrays, to find those null points. So,
Yeah.
I really did appreciate Klondike had, some documents that sort of helped out with that. So,
Yep.
I'm optimistic that they can at least help it in the next season, and I'm happy to be a listener as well. So, yeah.
Any last comments before we move on for the evening? Okay, well, thank you very much. Appreciate you coming. Continue the conversation. Down there.
Yes, and I just want to let everybody know who came to, give us your input. The treehouse license is not going to be approved tonight. So just so you know, we're taking your concerns into consideration. We're going to be continuing to work with Treehouse, and they're going to show us more information, and we're going to come to an iteration that allows this season to be an experimental improvement on the experience for the community. So we will be approving a lot of other licenses tonight, but not this one.
All right. Thank you again. So we have got a pile of annual renewals for 2026. I'm going to make some motions and I'll read for a while. So I move the Select Board approve the renewal of all licenses for the 2025 licensing year as listed in the 2026 Select Board annual renewals, right? Yeah, I think 2026 annual renewals. Summary including, this is the common victualler license for Berkshire Brewing Company, Deerfield Inn, Food for Strength / Leo's Table, Gianni Figs Restaurante LLC, Treehouse Brewing Company, Wolfie's Restaurant, Zach's Barbecue. Then the funeral director license for Risley Funeral Home, Class 2 dealer license for Richards Automotive, GMG Enterprises, K-Dog Auto Sales, Deerfield Motors and Equipment, Class 3 dealer license for East Deerfield Auto Wrecking, home business renewals for Deerfield Healing Arts, Deerfield Therapeutic Massage, and Salon 68, entertainment yearly licenses for Hotel Warren, the Tavern Sports Bar LLC, the Yankee Candle Company, Inc., including live music and face painting, annual non-resident auctioneer licenses for Catamount Auction Company, LLC, New England Auctioneer, as detailed in the official renewal list on file with the Town Administrator's Office. May I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion or questions? All those in favor?
Blake Gilmore, aye.
Tim Hilchey, aye.
Trevor McDaniel, aye. Okay, so, and we'll sign all these after, hold everybody up. I move the Select Board in our capacity as the Board of Health for the 2026 licensing year as listed in the Board of Health annual renewals for 2026 summary, including food service licenses for Bamboo Asian Cuisine, Bement School, Inc., Berkshire Brewing Company, food trucks or other, Bittersweet Bakery and Cafe, Bueno Asano, Champney's Restaurant and Tavern, Cheslick's Market LLC, Circle K Massachusetts LLC DBA Circle K 470-7509, CK Sandwiches DBA Subway, Conway Road Neighbors, Cumberland Farms number 6763, CYKJ Inc., DBA Golden China, the new Golden China, Deerfield Convenience Store, H&M Brothers, Deerfield Elementary School, Eaglebrook School, Food for Strength, LLC, DBA Leo's Table, Frontier Regional School, Gianni Figs, LLC, Holiday Pizza, JKBC, LLC, DBA Hillside Pizza, Kelly's Farm Store, LLC, DBA Atlas Farm Store, Mike's Snack Shack,
Can we hold on this?
please.
I think we need to change DBA Atlas Farm Store to Long River Produce Market.
Is
But we
that
have to check
Kelly's
to see
Farm
if-
Store?
have they officially
Yeah,
checked?
so as far as I know, they still in their application for renewal listed Atlas Farms. But I did notice that was different from what's been in the
Can we,
news, certainly.
Can we check with them? Because I know there might have been, there was some
Discussion.
contention between Atlas Farm and Atlas Farm Store about this. So just check with Kelly.
Well, the name is
Icky.
also changed on
Yeah.
the sign, hasn't it?
Well, right, yes, yeah.
I mean, it's,
But they may not have had time to go to the lawyer, but I just want to know where that is.
Sure, yep.
Okay. Mycotera Farm Inc., a Holyoke Hummus Pickle Guy, Old Deerfield Country Store, $100 retail FE, Pekarsky's Sausage LLC, Polish American Citizens Club, Richardson's Candy Kitchen, South Deerfield Pizzeria, formerly Primo, The Walk, the Three, Yankee Candle Company Inc., Ben and Jerry's, Yankee Candle Company Inc., Bulk Candy Kiosk, Yankee Candle Company Inc., Fudge Shop, Yankee Candle Company Inc., New England Market Cafe, Treehouse Brewing Company, Trustees of the Deerfield Academy Dining Hall, Trustees of Deerfield Academy Greer Store, Trustees of Deerfield Academy Lewis Cafe, Williams Farm Sugar House, Whiskey Sid's, Wolfie's Restaurant, a Yankee Donuts, Dunkin' Donuts, 1 Greenfield Road, Zach's Barbecue, and Kelly Kuznick Condo Bakery Lady with the home kitchen, if applicable. Tobacco sales license for Circle K Massachusetts LLC, DBA Circle K 470-7509. Cumberland Farms number 6763, Deerfield Convenience Store, H&M Brothers, Deerfield Spirit Shop, Deerfield River Liquors, and Conway Road Neighbors. Let's see. So I'm going to keep rolling here. Indoor ice rink licenses for Eaglebrook School and Deerfield Academy. Swimming pool licenses for Eaglebrook School, Deerfield Academy limit 25, Deerfield Academy limit 75, Bement School for summer camp pool. Hotel motor, motel and inn licenses for Historic Deerfield Inc., Deerfield Inn, Red Roof Inn Plus, O'Fall, Septage O'Fall Hauler licenses for Bosley Sanitary Services Inc., GMG Enterprises, Carl Site Work, River Drive Excavating Inc., Parker's Portables LLC, trash haulers licenses for Dave Wickles Trucking, Goulet Trucking, J. Bernisky Landscaping and Excavation LLC, Republic Services, USA Waste and Recycling Inc., and Pioneer Valley Waste Solutions, as detailed in the official renewal list on file with the Town Administrator's Office. May I have a second?
second,
Any further discussion? I guess we'll just kind of we'll approve this, just confirming the name for the Atlas Farm Store. All those in favor?
Blake Gilmore, aye.
Tim LGI,
Trevor McDaniel, aye. So
well read.
all read.
No, I said well read.
Oh, thank you. Yes, thank you very much. So I think we are good to go. Any correspondence? We have a couple of letters that came in from about the treehouse, and their comments are very similar to ones today. One from Laura on at One Hillside Road and another from Kurt Harris on Grave Street. Very similar comments to the other members of the audience who had made comments today. So they are in the record as well. Will be in the minutes. I guess that's. Do you guys want to hit on anything before we go? And then we'll sign these. Just I don't want to keep everybody if we're signing. So.
No, just wanted to give everyone a reminder. So next week on the 10th, we do have our tax classification hearing at 5:30 on Wednesday. So just a reminder for everyone on that.
So the 10th, 5:30?
Yes.
So headed at 7 for some reason.
We had kind of gone back and forth over
Okay.
time, so
Got it.
wanted to make sure we
Thank you.
confirmed. Yeah.
Thank you.
And then, the also Personnel Board is going to be doing their regular class comp meeting on December 15th. So that's a Monday at 6 p.m. That meeting is always virtual. So it'll be posted and it's gone out also with paychecks. So employees
Okay.
should be aware as well.
Great. I've got a Board of Oversight meeting for the South County Senior Center tomorrow at, at 5 o'clock. So I believe it's 5 o'clock. Anybody wants to join that? I think that's it.
What's it for?
Board of Oversight, just a,
First
yes, for South County Senior Center. Yep. Have you had a SCEMS meeting recently, or where are you at?
Keep trying to schedule one. I think
Okay.
it's scheduled next week. Let's see.
And they've got approval for the ambulance. I think all 3 towns approved that, so that's
Right.
good to go.
There is lumber at the 1888 building site, so that
Oh.
is an indication they're going to start framing the new building soon.
Great.
I don't know what the most recent. Did you have a meeting yesterday or?
Yeah, we had a quick Zoom on Monday, or excuse me, on Tuesday. And they did include, I think that they were going to be doing that in the next few weeks. Yep.
We had called together the band and had a town common committee meeting last week or so, and that was really good to see everybody and kind of keep moving forward. I did see your email, Christopher, and I am on them about the DPC about getting us Sugarloaf Park Street info, and they were going to get us Sugarloaf Park Conway to the railroad, and then Elm Street as well for that work. Just I said these things are the most important, and please, as soon as possible. So we'll keep on that and get you back some information as soon as we can. That's it. Anything else? All those in favor or motion to adjourn?
One final thing I did notice, I went by both the Leary lot and the library today after the first significant snowfall, and those sites are being handled by a contractor that Matthew Morse set up. I think in the main, much better. Well, the library lot looks great. The Leary lot looked very much better than it did last year. The sidewalks are actually cleared. So I think we're moving in the right direction there.
That's great. Deal. Okay, so entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second,
All those in favor?
Blake Gilmore, aye.
Tim Hilchi, aye.
Trevor McDaniel, aye. Thank you all very much for attending. A good night. And we will sign away like it's Seinfeld. So there's one on the front and then all of the